Hello, I'm James Ippoliti, also known as Dr. J, and welcome to the Office of Demonology. And what I'm going to talk about today is this book by Joyce Carol Oates. It's The Doll Master and Other Tales of Terror. Now, this book came out in, I think, 2016, and I bought it probably in Barnes & Noble when it came out, but I literally just read it. I feel bad that I waited so long, but I have so many books that I go through that sometimes that happens. I loved this book. It is a collection of short horror stories, but not anything supernatural, which I totally dig in this. The cover story is about a young boy who gets obsessed with his cousin's doll after she tragically dies of leukemia. And as this young boy grows up, he starts collecting found dolls. It's really this amazing trek into the mind of a psychopath. He takes these found dolls and he puts them in his carriage house. Such a wonderfully written story. Then we have a story called Gun Accident. This is where this young teenage girl gets asked by her favorite teacher to watch her house as the teacher is away. Her cousin ends up breaking into that house. It's a really interesting story, this dynamic between this cousin she kind of knew when she was growing up, but someone she's afraid of. Another disturbing story. Like, these stories are really getting into the minds of these characters. You are completely uneasy reading these characters and their stories. There's another story called Big Mama, and this is, again, this tragic story of a child who doesn't have the best home life. She ends up becoming friends with this girl who seemingly has this amazing home life, and she's introduced to Big Mama. I'm not going to spoil what Big Mama is, but it is totally worth reading. And then finally at the end, now there are a few more stories, but the one I really found just so enjoyable to read as a book nerd is the last story. It's called Mystery Inc. It's about this store owner, and he has several bookstores, a franchise, but the way he acquires these stores is very interesting. It's great if you love going into bookstores, you love books. I found it just wonderful to read this final story in this book. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but again, I'm obsessed with Joyce Carol Oates now. I wish I would have read more of her stuff. I am going to read more of her stuff, but I find it interesting that I waited so long to get into her writing. And she also teaches, or has taught, I don't think she's teaching anymore, but she taught at Princeton, which is really right across the river from me. There's a lot of stories in here that you'll see have a Jersey setting. And so she's from Jersey, at least lived there a long time, and you can see that from reading this, because a lot of the places I'm like, oh, I know where that is. So very interesting. This is definitely highly recommended. Joyce Carol Oates, The Doll Master, and Other Tales of Terror. You will love it. You will be disturbed. Check it out.